There are some wounds that don't bleed. They build walls instead. Walls we don't even remember building but live behind every day. Walls made not of stone, but silence, distance, and fear of being seen. You tell yourself you want love, that you're ready for it. But when someone gets close, you flinch. You brush off compliments, doubt their kindness, and push them away. Softly, politely, almost invisibly. And then, in the quiet after they've gone, you ask yourself, why did I do that? This isn't about selfishness or drama. It's about defense mechanisms so deeply rooted, they feel like part of your personality. Somewhere in your past, love became linked with pain, or with conditions, or with performance. Maybe you learned early that love could be withdrawn without warning, that to be loved you had to be useful, perfect, pleasing. So now when someone offers care without conditions, it doesn't feel comforting. It feels dangerous. Your nervous system braces as if waiting for the twist. The compliment becomes a trap. The affection feels like pressure. The attention becomes unbearable. You want to let it in, but every part of you screams, stay safe, stay in control, don't need anyone. This is emotional self-sabotage, but it's not your fault. It's a learned survival pattern. When love was confusing, acceptance felt inconsistent, or boundaries were violated, your body remembered. Even if your mind tried to forget, it's not that you don't want love. It's that you've been trained to associate love with risk, so you play it cool, become independent to a fault, give love freely, but receiving it feels like exposure. You'd think if they really knew me, they'd leave. So you'd leave first, emotionally, energetically, or sometimes physically. Or you shrink yourself down, only showing the parts you think are acceptable. You become a master of being almost intimate but never fully seen. This can confuse others and isolate you, because the truth is, love that can't be received eventually stops being offered. When that happens, your inner critic says, "See? I told you they wouldn't stay." It's a painful loop. Wanting closeness, but fearing it. Needing support, but rejecting it. And the loneliest part. You don't know how to explain it to anyone. You barely understand it yourself. So you pretend you're fine. You hide your longing behind humor, helpfulness, or high achievement. But some nights, when the world quiets down, you feel the ache. It's not just for love, but for the ability to let it in. For a nervous system that doesn't panic at the soft touch of care. For a heart that doesn't feel the need to flinch. The truth is, healing isn't about forcing yourself to accept love instantly. It's about gently unlearning the fear that love always comes with a cost. It means grieving the love you didn't receive in the way you needed. It means holding compassion for the parts of you that still struggle to feel safe in connection. This is not weakness. This is not brokenness. This is trauma, wearing the mask of independence. Naming it, kindly, gently, is the first step toward healing. You don't need to earn love by being perfect. You don't need to fear love just because it once came with pain. You are allowed to be loved in your mess. You are allowed to be loved even when you don't know how to receive it well. And perhaps most importantly, you are allowed to learn at your own pace. There is no rush. Love, real love, will wait. But you must meet it halfway. Not with perfection, but with willingness. Willingness to sit with discomfort instead of fleeing. Willingness to believe someone might stay. Willingness to imagine that maybe, just maybe, you are not too much or too little, but exactly enough. Healing begins not with a grand gesture, but a quiet shift. Like answering a kind text instead of ignoring it. Like letting someone hold your hand even when you feel unworthy. Like saying thank you instead of deflecting every compliment. These are small acts, but they are radical for someone learning to receive love. You are not being dramatic. You are not bad at relationships. You are relearning what safety feels like in connection, and that is brave work. It takes strength to be vulnerable after being hurt. It takes courage to stay when every instinct says to run. But the part of you that still longs for love, that part has not given up, and neither should you. You are not broken. You are healing. You are not unlovable. You are learning how to let love in, even when it feels foreign, even when it feels frightening. That, too, is part of the journey. In the next part, we'll explore how these patterns form in childhood, and how they quietly shape our adult relationships. But for now, pause, breathe. Let this truth land softly. You are allowed to be loved. Even if you don't yet know how to receive it fully, Even if it takes time, your walls may have protected you, but they don't have to be permanent. You built them to survive. But now, it's safe to begin dismantling them, one gentle brick at a time. You are not alone in this. And you don't have to heal alone either. Stay with me. You say you want love, but when it gets close, you flinch. Compliments feel suspicious. Care feels like pressure. Kindness makes you uneasy. Wait for the catch, the trap, the hidden agenda. Why? Because at some point, love stopped feeling safe. Maybe it came with conditions, or manipulation, or silence that screamed louder than words. You learned that being loved meant being controlled. That closeness could cost your peace. Affection could turn sharp in an instant. So now love makes you brace yourself, even when there's no threat. Even when the one reaching toward you means well. It's not them you're afraid of. It's the past replaying in your nervous system. You were trained to survive, not to receive. To scan for danger, not comfort. To give more than you get, just to stay safe. You became excellent at overfunctioning, at pleasing, at caretaking. But being cared for that feels like foreign territory, like a language you were never taught. So you push love away in subtle ways. You downplay your needs. You pretend you're fine. You keep conversations shallow. You make jokes to deflect tenderness. You ghost people who get too close. You choose partners who don't really see you. Not because you don't want love, but because deep down, you don't believe you're allowed to have it. You've equated vulnerability with danger. You think independence means you're strong, that needing someone is a weakness, that letting someone care for you makes you a burden. But here's the truth. You are not a burden for being human, for having needs, for desiring connection, for craving soft places to land. You're not broken for wanting what you didn't get, or for struggling to accept it now. Healing starts by acknowledging this tension. The tug-of-war between wanting closeness and fearing it, the ache of loneliness paired with the fear of being seen. It's not irrational. It's a wound asking for gentleness, for patience, for slowness. You don't need to rush into receiving. But you can start noticing the moments you flinch, the places in you that pull back. And instead of shaming those parts, you can get curious. What are they protecting you from? What story do they believe? That you're unlovable? That love must be earned? That people only care when you perform? These stories come from somewhere, from real pain. But they are not the only truth. Not anymore. You are not the child who had to shrink to survive. You are not the teenager who masked her feelings to stay safe. You are not the adult who must now be endlessly self-sufficient. You're allowed to let people in. To feel uncomfortable at first, to sit with the awkwardness of being loved, to let affection land, even if it makes you cry. You don't have to be perfect to be held. You don't have to be calm to be cared for. You don't have to explain why you matter. You just do. Love doesn't require a resume, or a justification, or proof of productivity. It meets you where you are. Even in your resistance, even in your fear, even when you say I'm fine, and you're not. Someone out there wants to meet you in your realness, but you must let yourself be seen. Slowly, gently, one breath at a time. Love isn't a threat. Love, real love, does not erase you. It makes space for who you already are, not just the strong parts, but the soft ones too. And they are just as worthy. Just as lovable, just as human. Sometimes love feels more like a threat than a gift. Because love means being seen, and being seen means being vulnerable. When someone truly cares, they look past your mask. They notice the tension behind your smile. They hear what you're not saying. If you're not used to that, it can feel terrifying. You wonder what they'll find? You wait for them to change their mind. So you keep your distance. Or push them away gently at first. A joke that lands too sharp. A cold silence after they reach out. A pattern of disappearing when things get too close. You don't mean to hurt them. You're just afraid of being hurt first. You've learned to equate affection with loss, attention with judgment, safety with solitude, and connection with eventual betrayal, because in the past it often was. You tell yourself you're fine on your own, that you don't need anyone. That love is for people who haven't seen the world clearly. But that's not truth. It's self-protection. It's armor disguised as independence. It's strength built from fear, not trust. And while that armor may have kept you safe, it's also kept you alone. No one can love someone who isn't there. And you've been hiding behind the version of you that seems unbreakable. But you are breakable and lovable at the same time. The fear isn't weakness. It's memory. It's the echo of every time love felt unsafe. And the healing isn't in pretending it doesn't matter. It's in daring to show up, scared and all. It's in letting someone see the tremble in your voice. It's letting them stay when you're not performing. When you're not funny or helpful or easy to be with, it's just quiet, just you. Some days that will feel impossible. You'll want to retreat. You'll think, I don't deserve this. But love isn't something you earn. It's something you allow. Not because you're perfect, but because you're human. No one is ever fully ready to be loved. We learn by being loved. We heal by being accepted, even when we can't accept ourselves. That's the hard part. Receiving, not fixing. Letting the love in, not as a reward, but as a reminder that you're already enough, already worthy, even if you don't always believe it. Even if your hands shake when you reach out. Even if your instinct is to pull back. Let the moment linger a little longer. Let the compliment land before you deflect it. Let the hug hold you without apology. This is the work. This is the healing. Not in grand declarations, but in the smallest permissions. It will take time. You will get it wrong sometimes. But every time you try, you rewrite a piece of the story. You show your nervous system. Maybe this time is different. Maybe you don't have to run. Maybe love isn't the enemy. Maybe it never was. It's just unfamiliar. Just fragile, like you. And that's okay. Love doesn't need you to be certain. It's open, one breath at a time. One soft yes. One moment of staying. The world won't teach you how to receive love, but you can relearn it from those who give it gently, from those who don't rush your healing, from those who sit beside you in silence, who don't ask you to be more than you are, who simply say, I'm here, and mean it, even when you pull away, even when you don't believe them. That's the love that heals. The kind that waits, but never pressures. That sees through your fear and stays anyway. You don't have to fight it. Act. You don't have to understand it all at once. Just breathe. Just feel. Love will still be there. Sometimes the hardest part of love isn't giving it. It's receiving it. Letting someone care for you can feel like standing in a spotlight with nowhere to hide. Our first instinct might be to deflect, to question, to brace for disappointment. Because somewhere inside a voice still whispers, you don't deserve this. You might say thank you, but not really believe it. You might change the subject, downplay your needs, or pretend you're fine. You might reject help because you're afraid it will be taken away. This is the legacy of wounds that taught you love was conditional. That affection came with expectations. That vulnerability led to punishment, not comfort. So you became independent, not out of strength, but out of necessity. You learned to take care of everyone else but yourself. You built an identity around being the strong one, the giver, the responsible one. And when someone tries to offer you what you offer others, it feels foreign, even threatening. Accepting love requires a kind of surrender, a willingness to let someone see the soft, unguarded parts of you. A belief that you're worthy even when you're not performing, fixing, or giving. But if you've spent a lifetime earning love through effort, just being might feel like a risk. What if they stop loving you when you're not useful? What if you become a burden instead of a blessing? These fears are echoes from a time when your needs were too much for someone. But those moments were not the full truth. They were shaped by people who hadn't learned to love themselves either. Now, the work is to unlearn those beliefs. To notice the moments you push love away and gently ask why. To allow yourself to feel cared for, even if it's uncomfortable. Love doesn't have to be earned through exhaustion. Your worth is not a project, not a performance. You are not lovable because of how hard you try. You are lovable because you exist. Let that be enough for now. Sit with the discomfort of being seen and accepted. Let someone hold the door open for you. Let someone notice your tiredness and say you can rest. Let love be quiet and simple. Let it be imperfect and real. You don't have to pretend you're okay all the time. You don't have to heal alone. Love is not a test. It's not a reward for getting better. It's not a prize for your productivity. It's a mirror that reflects back the parts of you you've tried to hide. And slowly, with kindness, you learn to look without turning away. To say, maybe I can receive this. Even if your voice trembles, even if you're not sure you believe it yet, you can start with small steps. Let someone compliment you, and don't argue. Let a friend offer help and say yes. Let yourself rest without guilt. Let someone love you without needing to earn it. You will feel exposed at first. You might even grieve the years when you didn't know how to receive. But love is still available to you now. It comes in through the cracks, through the gentle people, the quiet gestures, the moments you almost miss. It isn't loud or flashy. It doesn't ask you to perform. It asks only that you stay, that you show up imperfect, tired, uncertain, and let yourself be met. You are not too much. You are not unlovable. You are not a problem to fix before you're worthy of care. You're already enough. Even if you don't believe it yet, keep going. You are learning a new language, one of gentleness, trust, and self-compassion. The old voices may still echo sometimes, but new voices are rising too. Ones that say, you can rest. You can be loved. You don't have to do it all. And maybe, just maybe, you'll begin to believe them. Not all at once, but in tiny moments of stillness, you will feel it. A softening, a loosening, a remembering that love is not something you must chase, something you can come home to. You are allowed to receive. Even now, especially now, you are healing. Not because you're broken, but because you're brave enough to feel. Let that be your quiet revolution. Let it be enough. Maybe you've heard I love you and felt your stomach twist instead of soften. Maybe you've been given affection and instinctively questioned what it would cost you. Not because you're broken, but because your heart was taught to survive by running. When love shows up, it presses against the walls we built to protect ourselves. It feels invasive, even if it's gentle, because we're used to the absence of love, not the presence of it. We second-guess kind gestures. We replay soft words, searching for the hidden blade. We brace for disappointment, even in moments of peace. It's not that we don't want love, it's that we've been wired to believe we won't keep it. Or worse, that we don't deserve it at all. Self-sabotage is the armor we wear to avoid the pain of loss. We push people away before they get the chance to leave. We distance ourselves emotionally so their absence won't feel like a wound. This is not irrational, it's protection that once kept us safe, but now it keeps us alone. And lonely hearts are loud in silence. You may find yourself choosing partners who can't give you what you need. You chase the unavailable because their distance feels familiar. You overlook the gentle ones because their love feels suspicious. You might test the people who care, start fights to prove they'll leave, or pull away to see if they'll follow. But love isn't something to be proven through suffering. Love is not earned through pain. It's not a reward for perfect behavior. You don't have to hide your mess to be worthy of love. You don't have to be easy to love to deserve it. You only have to be human. Accepting love is an act of courage. It means facing the part of yourself that believes you're unlovable. It means offering that part some compassion. Healing begins when we allow ourselves to receive, not just love, but care, kindness, presence. It begins when we stop turning every tenderness into a threat. This shift doesn't happen overnight. Some days, you will still flinch when love knocks. Some days, you'll still reach for the armor. But other days, you'll leave the door unlocked. You'll speak kindly to yourself, even when you're hurting. You'll notice love when it's quiet and small. A friend texting to check in, a dog resting its head on your knee, strangers smiling as they hold the door. These are all pieces of love, all reminders that the world isn't out to harm you, all invitations to soften just a little. You may still struggle to believe someone could love you for real, but over time, you can learn to stay anyway. To stay in the discomfort of being loved, let it stretch you. Let it reshape the story you tell yourself. Let it teach you that you're not a burden, that your softness isn't weakness, that your presence isn't a problem, that your needs are not too much. Love doesn't need you to be fixed. Love doesn't demand perfection. Love simply asks that you don't run forever. The tenderness you resist is the medicine you need, not because it erases your past, but because it reminds you of your future. A future where love doesn't hurt like it used to. Where intimacy isn't just a risk, it's also a relief. Where trust doesn't mean blindness, just openness. Where connection doesn't require you to lose yourself. When someone sees your scars and stays, don't push them away. When someone listens without fixing, don't silence your truth. When someone chooses you, believe them even if it takes time. And if you can't believe them yet, let their love sit quietly beside you. Let it warm the room. Let it be real, even if you don't know how to hold it, because love isn't always loud. Sometimes it's patient. Sometimes it waits while you heal. You don't have to rush into healing. You don't have to force trust. You only need to be willing to stay, even just a little longer. Even when your instincts scream run. Even when your heart still doesn't know how to be safe. Stay for the part of you that longs to be held. Stay for the version of you that once thought they'd never be loved. Stay for the love you've always deserved, but never felt worthy of, because that love is real. It's here. You are allowed to receive it. This is quiet philosophy, where thinking isn't loud, and life doesn't need to be either. Subscribe if you haven't already, not for noise, but for something you can actually feel.